Okay, we'll start with the English. Alex Toucant. That's the second time I've seen this. King's Indian in response to the English opening. I could go for the Botvinnik setup here. Alex Toucant. Yeah, I don't think that's especially good. The bishop can't stay here, so it's got to give itself up for the knight or retreat. And this is a move I want to play anyway. So if he retreats, I'll castle. If he lines up with the queen, I'll move my king here. So first castle and then put the king there. And I'll get this pawn defended just in time. He didn't even go back to a square like this. That's funny. Okay, let's defend the pawns and open up a line for the bishop. Okay, he moved the bishop. He moved his bishop a third time. Yeah, this battery is what I was talking about. When he lines up like this, then you have to defend this pawn. But this king and bishop make a very solid defense, actually. And he has no way of stopping me from trading this guy off. Oh, he does have a way of stopping me from trading. He can retreat his bishop here. And he does, but his king is rather limited in its mobility at this point. So this is a position I think that calls for expansion on the king side here. See, if I put the pawn here, takes, I take. He takes with the bishop. Yeah, I can't really stop that. So here, let's kick this knight. He can't take here. That's to give me an extra pawn on this f5 square. Extra defender of the f5 square. And I can bring my knight in this way too. And in the meantime, his dark squared bishop is sitting here back in the corner useless, although it can spring out to this square when that opens up. He went there. Here. Yeah, I'm going to be left with a pawn on that square, so doesn't really matter if he has an extra piece here. And he blocked his own bishop in. I mean, this is a good square for his pieces right now. And the check from the bishop here means I would have to move my king. Or he could put a knight there looking at, he could put a knight here looking at this square. So what to do here? Should I take? Open things up. He might want to be sacrificing there. Let's first move the knight. Let's see, I could defend this pawn and then push here. guess there goes that idea. Takes, I take. I keep this pawn, but I can't push here unless I move my queen, which maybe I should do. Put the queen here, push this pawn. Or if he doesn't take, then I can push this pawn. In fact, his knight is trapped. His knight has no square to go to, right? Taken, 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 taken. Everything, everywhere he might go is already occupied by his own pieces or are controlled by my pieces. So he sacrifices the knight for a pawn. He gets a pawn or two. Now what should I do? Good push. But I think, why don't I go ahead and double rooks here. Just trying to make the threat of taking here more dangerous. Oh, now I'm going to take because otherwise my bishop might get trapped behind enemy lines. I guess I can do this. I was thinking I could always trade my bishop off for his knight, but the knight might move, and then the bishop would be stuck there doing nothing. But if I put a pawn there, yeah, I can take that. And then I can take here. I don't know why he doesn't just take with the bishop. Yeah, that's the logical way to take. So he's I am controlling this square still, which is nice. Threatening a check. And the king will run away, I guess, after the check. He runs there, huh? Okay. My queen was tied up defending the bishop, so I couldn't play over here. So I decided I'll just get rid of the bishop. I should go back to my plan of doubling rooks, I think. Yeah, that's nice. Can I force him to take? Apparently not. That's kind of nice. Okay, let's give the check first. Force the king back while my bishop is still on the board. And I'll just go ahead and take. Yeah, I can keep taking. And eventually I can get my queen in. All this was just an attempt to get my queen in. Yeah, but that's not protected. Okay, he stopped me from getting my queen in. He did. He did stop me from getting my queen in. Here, let's go here. And we got my queen in after all. Okay, I guess he had just given up at that point. But anyway, pretty good win. Let's play a rapid game. Anyway, I've had good luck with the Botvinnik system against the King's Indian defense. So if you have trouble playing against the King's Indian defense, try it. Try out the Botvinnik system. Of course, you have to play the English. Okay, let's try the French. Speaking of chess openings based on nationalities, the English and the French. Oh, he doesn't like the French. So what's his plan after this? Let's see. I guess I'll put the pawn here first. I'm thinking I should put a knight here and take advantage of this hole in his structure that he's going to create, or that he has created. But it does, I mean, it's pros and cons. It does shut in my bishop. Okay, well now I can get the bishop out, doing something useful, right? And we can take with the pawn, so as to have a strong center here. And there is the check here, or here. At least until he develops his knight, or maybe the bishop. Could develop the bishop here too, I suppose. Anyway, I'm going to develop my knight. Yeah, he developed I'm going to play this like a con Sicilian. His knight can't come in here to harass my queen. I can control this square for a bit, and then I can put my knight here. The idea is to stop this pawn from coming forward. Okay, I'm going to have to call no joy on that one. I could block with the bishop, and then he pushes the pawn. I could take it. I could move the bishop here. He has a pretty good rating, but he's playing in a very unusual style. Can't say I approve bringing the queen out that early, but maybe he plans to castle queenside. Just wants to take. I thought sure he was going to move his bishop here to attack my knight. I mean, that's pretty good. Very strange. Okay, let's get castled. I guess now he wants to set up a double attack. So when he pushes his pawn, it'll open up the bishop on that diagonal. So if his queen were here, then it would be a double attack on my knight and on this pawn. The knight moves. No, I could just take the pawn still. Anyway, now that I've castled, I feel like it's okay to play d5. Am I right? Am I right? d5, c takes, c takes, e takes, e takes. It will leave me with a passed isolated pawn that he can take because he'll have the queen here. Okay, I add a little more force. I could put the bishop there and a rook here, and then play d5. Or just have the rook in reserve to. Yeah, he wants to set up that trick. I don't think it works though. Because if he pushes the pawn, I'll just take it, and my knight doesn't move, so this is still protected. Yeah, that's why. I mean, at first I thought this was a double attack, right? Because it's attacking my knight, and it's threatening this. Now, which way do I want to take back? But when I can take the pawn, the knight still protects over here, so it's not a double attack. I want to take with the c pawn to increase the scope of my bishop. That's why. That's my plan. And then keep taking so that he can't push e5 ever because he has no e pawn. And well, here, this is interesting. So if I take with the knight, he takes with the bishop. I take with the bishop. I just, no, I don't have an extra pawn. I have nothing, really. Yeah, one of those attacks that left me with, well, the material's very even, which I suppose is a decent result for black. I could take with the bishop and go into a knight versus bishop game. That might be interesting. Something a little different. And when he takes back, rather than grab the bishop right away, I'll put my rook here. And then maybe push this pawn, create a weakness on this side. He took with the rook. Okay, that's because, I wasn't going to take that anyway, but taking with the rook, he wants to have this, this attack going. And if I take the rook, he'll take back with the bishop, which will hit my rook. And it'll also threaten the mate because my knight will be out of place. Still going for that double threat. But I was going to leave it there anyway. Even if it was a bishop, I was going to leave it there. Now I could take it and win the exchange. Take the rook. And see, that doesn't really work. He should have gone, he should have gone here to threaten the knight, but my queen is guarding that square. So I'm keeping that square guarded. He plays with the pawn. So should I stop messing around? Just put an end to this. So he can't move the bishop with the check. If I could get my knight to this square, it would threaten a potential mate here that's currently defended by his queen, but maybe that's an idea for later. I could, and of course his knight is guarding, a rook is guarding that square, but I could put a pawn here and then a knight here, something like that. But I think my next move is to get this rook out, put some pressure on the bishop, and see what we can do with that. And then push this pawn. I don't know if pushing this pawn does anything now, because this rook is guarding this square, so I can get to here, but I can never push forward. So we could just leave that there for now. Here's another idea with the knight going here and then here, hitting the queen and the bishop. If I had a rook here already, it still doesn't win material, does it? Because even with the rook, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes. You would have to move the queen once, but that's about it. Oh no, I have the mate on the back rank, so that is a threat. There is a threat there. So he immediately sees what my idea was and positions his bishop accordingly. Okay, let's put my rook here. Go back to the idea of trying to weaken the queenside pawns over here. By eliminating this rook. So he defends with the bishop. Okay, I'll go back to here. This was the other idea. It's nice to have more than one idea in a position. He doubles rooks. Okay. He's going to bring his rook into the second rank, I guess. I don't think that's a problem. I am threatening a fork here, which is pretty devastating now that the bishop is only defended by the queen. The knight could consider going here. So he pins my knight. Let's see, if I bring my queen here, he can hit it. I'm going to just unpin here. Keep control of the forking square, unpin the knight. Now there's another forking square here. Yeah, so I thought my knight's still defended. I thought I could put a rook here. He can check me and drive my king here after an exchange. He's still got a problem on the back rank, though. Let's go for this. Threatening the pawn, too. So, yeah, he can play here. I take. He takes back. I have to move my king, but then he has to come back and defend his back rank. So knight here check. Maybe he's counting on this knight being pinned. King moves. I take the queen. Takes back, and then I take the rook. So I think that is a threat. I had to make sure. But there's two ways I can move the knight. Well, actually more than that. I can move the knight with check here and here, although this, yeah, that just loses the knight. But I can also move the knight to defend my queen here and here. So he moved his king. He moved his king. So if I move my knight, or how about if I just take a pawn? It was a double threat, yeah. And I can move my knight here to save the queen and unpin the knight. And there's still a back rank problem. I can't move the knight with check anymore. You know, I could also just defend my queen, step up with the king like this, and then I could move the knight someplace else besides there. There was a good knight move, but I don't see it. I could still go here, I suppose. But I don't see any follow-up. That's just a single threat. Now, Anderson, Nosredna, 007. Nosredna is Anderson backwards. That's his clever technique. Okay, so he put that on a square that attacks my rook. I could go here, back where I was, and maybe double rooks. I was also thinking I could put it here. It's protected there, and it's hitting the pawn, which is defended. But when it's here, then I can double rooks and maybe penetrate. Maybe, don't know. He can put a rook here now. Try and get the pawn back. Goes there with the queen. Okay, and he unpinned my knight, which is nice, thank you. And that's double. Double, double, boil and trouble. So, if I could block out the rook, I could put the queen here and threaten mate there. Could also put the rook here. I could have done that right away, actually. If I really wanted to chase the queen away from that square, or trade it for rook and knight. Queen versus rook and knight would be good for me. Let's see. Yeah, there's also a queen to this square. Okay, it looks like I should unpin this rook. See, if I take here, if I take here, if I go here, he can take, but I can take back with the queen. And then he takes here. Okay, so if he takes, I have to take back with the rook. I can't leave the knight hanging. I don't wish to leave the knight hanging, but I'm opening up the possibility of taking his rook and then putting my rook here. Or my queen here, maybe. Rook here first. Okay, but he took the rook, so let's take back with the rook. And he put his queen where it's looking at this pawn, so he can grab the pawn now. But he kicks my knight first. If I go here, maybe I'm threatening here. Go here, the queen will move, maybe take the pawn. But I could go here with my queen. Yeah, let's see what he does here. I thought he'd do that. Yeah, so this hits the rook, which I could take with check. It hits the pawn. And if the rook leaves the back rank, I can take the bishop too. So he goes there. So I'll grab this pawn anyway. The queen has a check here. I'll just step back with my king. He defends there. So now there's a check. Let's see how he reacts to the check. There. So I want to take that bishop. It can just walk away, I guess. Well, anyway, bishop versus a knight makes an interesting combination. So here, I don't want to let his knight come here and pin my knight against the queen. Don't want to let his rook come here and pin my knight against the queen. So where can I go? Well, one thing I could do is push this pawn. He puts the rook here. I push again. A little shaky, little shaky. Okay, we're offering the queen trade, but I'm defending my rook. And unpinning my knight. That is the plan. Okay. Didn't accept that offer. I keep up a little pressure on the queen. Yeah, he's keeping up the pressure on my knight. What do I do? Okay, I should move my queen, I guess. The knight is importantly guarding this square, where he could skewer, defended by the bishop. That's an important deal. And I want to liberate the knight, so it looks like it's going to take a couple of steps here. Oh, he goes there. Okay, so now he can't, don't have to worry about the rook being there. I just have to worry about the knight being hanging. He can put his rook here, but I am threatening here. Ah, should have gone. Should I have gone to this square? Maybe. Maybe I go to that square. Go back here. Knight here is a fork. Oh, okay, trades out. Okay. Go with the rook. Threaten. Threaten there. Yeah, he was low on time, so lost the thread there. And he resigned. Well, that was a tough struggle. I guess this question mark rating is probably pretty accurate. He put up a really strong fight there. Anyway, good win. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.